Welcome collectors. Today we're going to be talking about the figurized standard amplified Blue Eyes White Dragon from Bandai Namco, obviously from the license of Yu-Gi-Oh! And if you know Yu-Gi-Oh! You know that this guy is the top dog, at least from the OG Yu-Gi-Oh! Right? Obviously Seto Kaiba had 4 of them, technically the one that he stole from Yugi's grandpa and then ripped it. And we all know the whole Ultimate Dragon theory, or I guess the whole fusion about it, right? But just looking at this guy, I mean, tell me this guy does not look freaking badass. He looks really cool. So just a little heads up on that too. This guy is from the amplified, I guess, line. So there is a figurized standard and then a figurized standard amplified. Now it's basically the same thing, just the only thing amplified just means that they do a little bit extra on making him look more badass, right? So technically he has more sharper, I guess, longer claws, longer ears, and just a lot more sharper things. I'm pretty sure even his wings were a little bit expanded a bit more, but as you can see, it's a lot more sharper. Now, technically, it's not sharp enough that like it'll cut you, but when you are building them, they are a little bit sharp. But honestly, that's kind of the only thing. They're still the same thing. They're just, you know, a lot pointier. And as you can see from the back, they are a little bit more, I guess, scaled out and out there, right? Like, for example, those little claws right there, they're just extended more. So that's the only thing, I guess, about this amplified versus standard. But as you guys can see, this guy looks really freaking dope. His wingspan, too, is actually really freaking big. So if you have a shelf and you want to obviously put a lot of stuff in there, good luck, because this guy takes up a lot of it. Unless you put him on some stand, then you put him up a lot higher, then most likely. But let's talk about his color here. So I know it's a lot harder to see this, I guess, in person and in video, but he may look kind of gray as of right now. But reality, it's I'm not too sure what the color is. It's like a little bit mixture of like blue and a bit of gray. He's not fully gray. And then we do see a couple purple right there in his tongue. And then the wings too. I'm not too sure what the material is. Obviously, it's not full on plastic. It's a blue type of special something. But this is something that really attached it. So obviously, you know, making his wings expand and all that. But as you can see from his body, is really pointy, very sharp. You know, his back nails right there, very cool. And extended as well, but his ears as well, and then see his claws over here. But overall, just a really freaking cool model kit just in general. Now let's move on to the next thing about him. Moving on to his aesthetics. So these model kits don't really come with a lot of other stuff, right? Because obviously it's just model kits. But this guy did actually come with the stand that we actually had to build. You don't have to use it, but obviously if you want to be able to pose them, there's some options for you. And there was one option too where I guess you can put it right here like in his midsection, and that's how you can stand them. Or you can do it from the back and then just kind of have him hanging from there. But I'm not too familiar with how to remove certain parts, and I'll get a little bit into that just a little bit when I talk about his building and like how all that went. But I did end up choosing this side, and obviously you can extend this a little bit however you want. There's this like little ladder here, and then you can move it to if you want to extend it higher, if you want to make them go higher, or just continue going up like this, and just stuff like that. But I actually like it how it's like not too far to the ground, but at least where, you know, he's kind of floating at least a bit. That's just my preference, but that's it for his aesthetics. That's the only thing that came with the stand. Not a lot of them don't really come with some of these, so the fact that he came with it, I mean, kind of makes sense, right? Because he's a dragon, we want to make him look like he's flying as well. So that's it for his aesthetics. Now let's talk about his movement and what he can actually move. Now I will be completely honest with you, there's a certain parts that I'm not going to try to move as much because I'm a little bit scared that this thing might fall apart on me. I did break a couple parts, which I'll explain just a little bit on the next segment. But looking forward to his legs can actually move pretty far back. This is usually as far as I can kind of go, obviously due to the wings over there. And then going forward, he can pretty much I want to say he can actually go 360 on these. Has a knee right here, which obviously can bend, and then you can continue moving it as well. And then has like an ankle stuff over here as well. Again, I don't know my terminology too much, so I do apologize. I will eventually end up learning those. I don't think it's a ballpoint. I guess it kind of is, but can rotate as to this far. Again, I don't want to move these as crazy. As you can see, a lot of stuff can just kind of fall apart pretty quickly. But this leg, I'm not going to move it. Same thing as that one. His arms also cannot rotate all the way back just because of this little thing. The claws are practically interfering with the wing right there. So that's as far as you can move for that. Let me see. But other than that, he can extend all the way to the back over here. And then as you saw, I just removed this ball joint. And that little thing just fell. It's like things that are supposed to be in his claw, but I don't know why they just don't stick. But easy things that you can fix. His hand can come down. You can rotate it back over here. His hand can go full 360 as well. And just, bicep, not too bad. We're gonna move down the leg just a little bit, and let's look at the neck area right here. So, this was a full thing. It didn't actually. So I'll discuss it with the tail, but his neck can actually move up and down pretty good, all the way up to there. But it's not being held by anything crazy. It's just these parts. Or actually, no, I'm lying. There is actually a wire copper there. That's how you hold it, and that's how it does all this. But this is as high as it'll go. And honestly, it's not bad enough. You can tilt it to the sides like this, which is pretty good. And then the only thing that actually moves from his head is his mouth. And this is all it'll do. And then we just got to be careful with certain parts, but you can extend it up to this. And then you can close it. So that's one thing. I've been having a little bit issue with one of the eyes. It seems to be popping out all the time. I don't know why. But again, it's probably an issue for me. His tail. Let's go to his tail in the back over here real quick. Again, same thing with this one. This one is being held by a copper wire as well. And this one can go all the way down to this. Obviously, I'm not going to stretch it out too much. But you can go up here. Well, actually, let's do it. So this thing will go all the way down and even kind of, I want to say like form right behind his feet. But this is as high as it'll go going up, okay? You can move it to the sides, but that's kind of about all the motion that you'll get out of this, to be quite honest with you. But that's really all you need. Now, let's look at the wings over here. I am going to move just to this one. You can move it all the way up to here, up to that. Again, the little thorns, I guess horns right there are the ones interfering with the movement. And you can rotate it all the way back. There is a little ball joint there, but not to the greatest extent. But as you can see, this is like, you do have a good movability with this. So just really up to you. And then there is like a little hinge right here that can make you extend it however you want. This is about as much as you can actually extend it. Obviously, I'm not going to try to force this. And going below, you can pretty much do it as well. But I think that's as much as it'll go for you. And obviously, that's perfectly fine with me. So we do have to be careful. Make sure a lot of these things don't move and break. Because it is a model kit, right? And not everything is freaking glued. Although that is one thing that you can do to make this become a little bit more stable, but it's not like if I just touch it and everything falls apart. We're not to that point yet. But let's talk about his actual I guess building for a model kit. Okay, so being completely honest with you, I actually had some difficulty building this dude. Just because, again, look, some of the parts are like really small, and I don't know if it's just because like I have a bit of chunky fingers or big hand or something, but some of these parts are freaking small, and you got to obviously connect them. Like for example, Some of the nails, you gotta kind of, as you see how small they are, you gotta connect them in there and stuff. Sometimes it's a little bit hard. Or I'll be completely honest with you, this is actually my third, I guess, like, well, I guess from the amplified line, this is my second one that I've ever built. And I guess I just don't really know how to read the manual as good, if that makes sense. Now, for example, going over to Mega Blocks and Legos, you know how when you first start building some of these things, you kind of don't really fully know how to read it. Like, okay, for this part, am I supposed to put it this side? Or am I supposed to put it on this side? That's kind of how it is for me right now. And when I first started making, obviously, the Mega Blocks and the Legos, I had that difficulty a lot just because I feel like I was going a little bit too fast. But now that I've gotten more experience with those, now it becomes a lot easier. I'm like, oh, okay, now I know exactly what you mean. So I feel like that's how it is for me right now with the model kits, where it's still for me to understand how to actually build some of these parts. Because let's talk about the parts that I actually broke. So I don't know if you can see this part right here. I actually ended up breaking this part right there. Right here. I don't know if you can see. I ended up super gluing it. Just again, I was putting the freaking little wing in there, and then out of nowhere, it just snapped on me. I was like, whoa. Okay, so again, it's not the thickest piece of plastic, so maybe that could have been one of both of our faults. And some of the parts that I did actually end up breaking, as you can see here next to the shin, this little section right there, it's obviously, you can see there's some marks there. Again, I broke it, and that's most likely due to me because I actually misread the part and I put it in backwards, I guess. And now taking these things off is, I don't know. It's a trucker to take these things off, okay? You might end up breaking some parts because I actually had to use an X-Acto knife to try to break it off, and that's how I broke it off. The knee as well, I ended up, I guess, extending it a little bit too much here to the point where I ended up breaking the peg. So I'm like, uh-oh. I did super glue it in there, so obviously I still can't move it, but I'm just trying not to move the knee. Again, I'm not a person that likes to move them a lot or play with them. I just want to build them and then just pose them in my shelves, okay? So that's perfectly for me. But if you're a person that's going to be moving these a lot, like posing them like crazy, you might have some issues with it. But again, I'll be honest, this is probably just the beginner's issue. Again, I'm the beginner, right? Because I don't have too much experience with model kits. But other than that, I really enjoyed this thing. This thing took me around 4 hours to build, if I'm completely honest with you. Obviously, check my channel, as I also do have the speed build for this. I tried pushing it as close to 20 minutes just so that obviously you're not there for 4 hours. But definitely a really cool one. I really enjoyed it. I definitely do recommend it. The best thing that I could tell you is just be careful when reading the instructions. Make sure you're paying attention and that you're not speeding through it. Again, double checking that the part's going the correct way. And that's kind of something that you're going to end up learning as the more you do. Again, with the Legos and Mega, that's certain parts where you're like, okay, I definitely know what this means. But a bit tough on that one, and but I still recommend it, and I'm still looking forward to building the other Yu-Gi-Oh collection, which I'll go over in just a little bit as well. So let's talk about the price point and the release date for Mr. Blue Eyes White Dragon over here. Mr. Blue Eyes White Dragon came out in March of 2023, and the price point was $62. Even currently right now, he is $62. And the good thing too is that he's still available. You can get him in the big Bad Toy Store. You can get him in Entertainment Earth, and then all those other Hobby Lobby shops, USA Gundam, and just stuff like that. So still obviously available, even on Amazon as well. The way that I actually end up getting this Blue Eyes, I got him off of eBay. I got him technically used, and I got him for $42 flat. That's including taxes, and that's including with shipping and all that. The only thing was that the seller just built the head. That's all he built. So the fact that I got it for what, $25 cheaper. That to me was a steal. Everything came in there. So he had messaged me saying that all he built was the head. So I was like, that's fine. But everything else was packaged in the original bags, and everything was there. So definitely was quite a steal for me. But if you are really interested in Yu-Gi-Oh! And you are interested in model making, or I guess model kits, this one I would definitely recommend going for this one first, as this is the first Yu-Gi-Oh! I guess licensed brand line from Yu-Gi-Oh! So typically the first ones usually kind of you know, tend to be the rarest in a sense. But if you definitely want to start getting into this one, I would definitely recommend starting off with this one. Now let's talk about some of the other figures in this line. So obviously this is the box for the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Again, Figure Standard Amplified, Bandai Namco, and this is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Line. So this was obviously the first one that came out, so March 2023. And then we had the Exodia Incarnate over here, so I guess just Exodia. And then we got Blackluster Soldier that came out, I believe, last year. And then I just recently just barely got this guy, the Egyptian God, the Winged Dragon of Ra. Technically might have came out during December of 2024, but I just barely received them from Big Bad Toy Store. So good on this guy. And they just recently revealed that the another Egyptian god is gonna come out, which is Obelisk the Tormentor. So that one's probably gonna come somewhere, maybe I think in June-ish. It says Q3, so maybe around that time. I don't know, maybe it could be later. But yeah, expect me to have speed builds on these and also reviews on these as well. But some pretty cool stuff here. Definitely, if you like Yu-Gi-Oh, get into it, and hopefully they get, I guess they bring some more popular ones as well. I'm really looking forward to a Dark Magician, and let's see who else. Because technically Blackluster Soldier is one of my favorites, so I'm cool. I'm really happy I got him. Magician of Black Chaos, hopefully. Summon Skull. Obviously, I really also want the Ultimate Dragon, so we'll see. But these are the ones that are in the line, so make sure to subscribe, because I'll be reviewing these guys and building them as well. And now finally, that's going to be it for me. Again, just give me some feedback. That's how I pretty much learned. This was one of my first model kit reviews that I've ever done, and like one of my first reviews that I've done in the longest time. So obviously need some more stuff to, I guess, get better at, but obviously this is where you come in. So let me know down in the section below. Right now we're just going to enjoy some posing positions for Blue Eyes White Dragon. I did my best, again, with the mobility that I had. I didn't want to break some other stuff, so hope you're enjoying this. But again, just subscribe to my channel if you want to. Again, I am also doing some model kits for Digimon, Dragon Ball. That's pretty much as I'm doing for those. I also do Mega Constructs / Mega Blocks Pokemon stuff. And then I'm just recently getting into SH Figure Arts as well. So I try to do a lot of content on those things, right? But I do speed builds as well. But obviously, I don't post the entire 2 to 3 hours. I try to shorten it anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes at most. Put some little music in there. Just enjoy it as a little background noise or something. Or if you're just interested in seeing like how these things are built, that's another thing. But yeah, just let me know if there's anything else that you want me to build. I feel like the next one that I'm going to build for this one is going to be from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Line. It's most likely Exodia. I'm trying to follow the exact release, I guess, from the monsters. But yeah, so that's it for me. Obviously, check out the speed build for this guy if you're interested. And then just keep on checking back in the channel and just see if you find anything in there. But overall, thank you guys for watching this video. I really do appreciate it, and hope you guys have a good one. And once again, happy collecting, collectors.